All right, welcome to Couch Football. I guess Couch Football Reacts is what we might call this. Whatever this is that we're doing. But it's the week of Christmas. Tomorrow's Christmas Eve, so I don't think we're going to have time to do a typical episode, so this is what we're doing instead. And if you didn't know, we're all Bears fans. At least everyone in this call is a Bears fan. And Ryan and I, we got to talk about the Bears-Packers game a little bit, but Caleb, I haven't talked to you ever since it happened. So basically, we're gonna just talk about that game for a good amount of time, and then we're gonna keep it pretty loose here. We're not gonna have any type of rigid segments or anything that's actually planned. So pretty much just gonna be an open discussion. So, yeah, a couple things. Ryan, no raising your hand.
There
will be no questions.
Okay.
What do you want?
Oh, okay. Can we have one segment where we talk about where we react to Tom Grassi's reaction? His reaction to what happened in the Bears-Packers game?
His reaction was hysterical. Caleb, did you watch any of Tom Grassi's stream?
I did not see that.
Right, I'll send it to you later. If you want to watch a man die inside, it's pretty fun.
I mean, we could watch it right now. It's open-ended, free form.
I mean, there's a couple things I did want to talk about with the Bears game specifically, but
okay, why don't you get into that then?
All right, maybe I will, Ryan. I mean, no, I never thought I would see the day where there is a Bears QB that is being called clutch by pretty much the majority of the NFL media. And I don't know if you guys saw, but the final throw to DJ Moore was the highest rated, according to Pro Football Focus, it's the highest rated throw of the year of any quarterback. But
Does that mean it's the most impressive throw of the year then?
Yeah, what does highest rated throw mean?
I believe it means it was the highest, or the most difficult throw. Most difficult throw given whatever circumstances are around it. Lowest probability of completion, whatever else.
That'd be weird. He was single covered. I don't know why that would be. I mean, I've seen people throw into.
Right.
I've seen Jameis Winston throw into triple coverage. Those are gonna be harder throws.
But Williams was basically throwing across his body though.
And Moore was wearing the receiver like a backpack, so
that is true. There was definite PI on that play. That was not called. But no. So yeah, Caleb Williams. I mean, it's hard to. His completion percentage is still pretty far down compared to other QBs, but I mean he's winning games, so it's hard to argue with it. But also Caleb, I remember you saying after the 0-2 start, you said that you never had a good feeling about Ben Johnson. Would you like to take that statement back at this point?
Give me a few years.
A few years?
No, I was telling some people recently. He has won me over, and I am not easy to win over. Really, the way he's won me over is that's right. The way he is winning me over is actually the way they're winning, though, because he's built the team from the inside out, offensive line, running game, and then the passing game is a complement of that. So that actually, I think, is sustainable. I saw a crazy post today that Mitch Trubisky in his sophomore season and Caleb Williams in their sophomore season this year have almost identical numbers. Mitch was 11-3 and Caleb's 11-4 right now, and literally both had 27 passing touchdowns. Both had almost the same yards. Does that scare you, Luke or Ryan?
Not really, no. Because the whole thing. So I am hearing some Matt Nagy comparisons getting drawn to Ben Johnson, but the whole thing is Matt Nagy's success was actually Vic Fangio's defense covering up the flaws of Matt Nagy's offense. I don't think that's the case with Ben Johnson. I think Dennis Allen has been a fine D coordinator, but I haven't been super impressed with the Bears defense this year. It's their offense that's winning them the games, which is weird to say as a Bears fan. We're not used to this. Yeah, the thing about that Packers game that was so funny, though, was that it remind you of games in the past just how the Packers have beaten the Bears. Didn't it feel like the shoe was on the other foot?
It kind of felt like they switched jerseys. And it's like, hey, the Packers are, oh, okay. Now, it is funny because, I mentioned that Mitch Trubisky comparison, but I'm actually just being facetious and kidding there because I actually feel like running the ball, playing the time of possession game, playing good defense, and, having the passing game go off play action, like that's actually sustainable. Matt Nagy's offense was smoke and mirrors. It actually was. It was. I don't remember if you guys watched it like pretty closely, but it was a lot of gimmicks, and there's a reason that it didn't translate the next year.
Yep. I mean, I remember. But that's why, like, I made the joke when they went for that trick play on 4th and 1, first drive of the game, and I said that reeks of Matt Nagy. And there are times where Ben Johnson does remind me of Matt Nagy, but he also, like, he is a very different head coach in terms of, like, his attitude, coming into the building, talking about changing the culture, something that head coaches will try to say, but none of them actually do it, whereas I feel like guys like Ben Johnson and Dan Campbell actually achieve that goal. Yeah, so I don't know. I don't think Ben Johnson will be a one-year wonder, like Matt Nagy was, because I just think that, well, like I was saying, I think that Ben Johnson is actually the cause of the Bears' success, and I never really felt like Matt Nagy was the cause of the Bears' success that 12-4 season.
So here's a question for you guys then. I heard on the radio today that somebody said that Ben Johnson was actually the one who changed the culture in Detroit, and now he's changing the culture in Chicago.
I've heard that theory. I don't buy into it, though, because...
you don't think? I mean,
nah.
He's changing the culture in Chicago.
There are a lot of people that are saying that the Lions suck now because Ben Johnson's gone. I don't think it's that black and white, but...
I mean, what were the Lions doing before he was there? Weren't they like 2-14 team or something?
He wasn't the OC the first year with Campbell.
But they only went 9-10.
That is true.
The first.
Yeah. They were like 2-10 at one point that season. So,
I mean, I'm just saying.
I don't know. No, I did want to talk about Ben Johnson a little bit because Ryan and we did an episode earlier this year where we talked Coach of the Year for a little bit. And I said that I didn't think Ben Johnson... This is before the Bears were about to go through the gauntlet of teams that were above 500. So I said I don't think it'll be Ben Johnson because I don't think the Bears are gonna end with a winning schedule, obviously, or with a winning record. Obviously now they're 11-4. They're guaranteed a winning record. They're guaranteed a spot in the playoffs. So I have a couple reasons why I think Ben Johnson should win Coach of the Year now. He is currently, I think, 4th in betting odds to win it.
Who's first? Vrabel, probably.
Vrabel is number 1. Mike McDonald is up there. And
Sean Payton?
No, Sean Payton's not up there. The funny thing is, they should just rename the award Best First Year Head Coach because it almost never goes to a coach that isn't in their first season as the coach of that team. But I've got a couple of reasons why I think Ben Johnson should get it over some of those guys. When it comes to Mike McDonald and the Seahawks, I appreciate what he's doing. Like, the Seahawks are looking like a really, really good team. But the Seahawks were 10-7 last year. So, I mean, I don't think that they've grown so much more this year that would actually like award someone Coach of the Year, considering like they were fine last year too. It's not like they've made some gigantic leap. And obviously the Seahawks, I think it's still debatable whether or not they are a Super Bowl contender. I'm not saying the Bears are a Super Bowl contender, but I feel like if you're talking Coach of the Year and you're going to go that route, I would go with whatever team is best in the league. And to me, it's the Patriots right now. And that's why Mike Vrabel does have really good odds at winning Coach of the Year. But the reason why I think Ben Johnson should get over Mike Vrabel is Mike Vrabel's been a head coach before, and he was a fine head coach for the Titans. But what Ben Johnson is doing in his first year as the head coach of a franchise that has been notoriously bad, that won 5 games last year, is pretty remarkable. And Yeah, I don't think Ben Johnson's gonna get it. Looking at the betting odds and everything else, but yeah, I feel like what he is doing is more impressive than what other coaches are doing that are also in contention for Coach of the Year.
And those coaches are not taking their shirts off in the locker room.
That's right. That's right. So they don't have any charisma points.
That's right. So I would love to see Ben Johnson as the Coach of the Year. I don't think he'll get it, but I also don't think that Vrabel or Mike McDonald should get it either. You guys know who I think should be the Coach of the Year, I assume.
Brian Daboll.
Mike McCarthy. Matt Flores.
No, it's obviously Kyle Shanahan. It's ridiculous. It's a ridiculous popularity contest of exactly as you said, Luke. It's whoever's the first-year head coach who took on a bad team or a mediocre team and made him good. The problem is if you look at the 49ers and their roster, they have had more injuries to key players than any other roster in the NFL, and they're 11-3.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we're not talking about McCaffrey this year. He's been
they're 11-4, I guess, but still.
He's been pretty much healthy.
Yeah. I mean, Shanahan is I don't know. Shanahan, I wouldn't say Shanahan is the best coach in the NFL. But I also don't know who I would say is the best coach in the NFL.
I'm just saying he won games against the Rams and the Seahawks with Mac Jones. Kittle was out most of the season. All of his receivers have been out. Jennings has been in and out the whole time. The only consistent player they've had on offense the whole year is McCaffrey.
Here's a question. Which division has the best coaches? NFC North or NFC West? Because I think it's going to be between those two.
I'd go North because I think that even though Kevin O'Connell had a bad year, I think that's more J.J. McCarthy's just really, really bad.
Yeah.
So sorry, Rubbers.
I would take Kevin O'Connell over Jonathan Gannon for the Cardinals.
Yeah. Plus they've got Ben Johnson, and Ben Johnson is essentially the coach of the Lions and the coach of the Bears because he's the one who changed the culture. So
yeah. Jonathan Gannon actually drags the whole NFC West down when it comes to talking about the coaching in the division as a whole, because the rest of the coaches in that division are really good.
Mm-hmm.
Are we not going to talk about all the injuries to receivers, to quarterbacks, to running backs that he's had to deal with this year? I mean,
O'Connell.
Yeah, no, Gannon.
Oh,
the Cardinals literally their first 3 running backs went down. Their star receiver went down.
They're better without Kyler Murray, though.
Yeah, but
they're better without Kyler Murray.
When your starting quarterback goes down, it still throws a wrench in your plan. So I think it's a little unfair to say he hasn't been, a good coach. I mean, he's playing Brissett now, so I mean, hey, that was a good coaching decision. But
yeah, probably
that is true.
Yeah. So. Yeah.
So I'm curious with the Bears-Packers game. Going back to that, where were you guys when you were watching it? Did you guys watch it together, or you watch it with other people?
No, I was at home, and I thought Ryan was home too. I thought Ryan was in his room. Turned out he was elsewhere. Mm-hmm. But I was like, I was getting ready to send Ryan an apology text because of all the yelling that I was doing during that game.
I was not at home.
So at what point did you think that? At what point did you think that the game was over? That they lost? Because I got there. I got to that point where I said, yeah, they lost.
Midway through the fourth quarter, probably 6 minutes left in the fourth quarter. It was. I told Ryan later on. I was like, I don't think I've missed a down of a Bears game since 2015, since midway through the 2015 season. But I was very close to turning that game off in the fourth quarter. It was the closest I've gotten to turning a Bears game off since 2015. And since I say I haven't done that since 2015, that means I've watched the Bears go 3-13, 4-12, 5-12. I've watched them lose a lot of games, but I've never been so distraught as during that game. So yeah, that was a point. I will say, I don't usually get violent when I'm watching sports, but I did on the I think it was in the fourth quarter when it looked like the Bears were finally going to sack Malik Willis, and then he ran around for like 30 seconds and then ended up scrambling for like 8 yards. I did throw my remote, my TV remote, into the carpet, and for some reason, I thought I threw it kind of light, but for some reason it shattered into 1,000 pieces, and I had to spend the next 10 minutes putting it back together.
Well, sounds like you shouldn't tell your landlord, Luke.
It's my TV.
No, we're not going to quibble about that. But literally, all the buttons came out apparently, and it was.
It was like a jigsaw puzzle putting it back together.
Yeah.
So to quote Flowbots, you can take apart the remote control and you can almost put it back together.
Oh, I did put it back together. There's not a single piece that's missing now. But yeah, Roku TV remotes. Apparently there's like probably 30 different pieces that come apart from there. It's crazy. But yeah, no, for sure, Caleb. I thought the game was over with about 5 minutes left, and I was furious because it was just a terrible performance. When they took their sweet time kicking that last field goal and got it down to the 2-minute warning, I was furious. Because, like, how can you make that error? How can you take it all the way down to the 2-minute warning when you know you have to get that kick up?
So what was really weird to me about it is, I look back on it, and it's, one of the greatest Bears games that in our lifetime for sure.
Oh, it's the greatest Bears game I've ever seen.
But it's funny because you look back on it, they had, 10 penalties for 100 yards or over 100 yards in penalties.
So when I texted you guys, it was, hang on, I've got it. When I texted you guys the picture of it, it was 9 for 100, but then they went on to get like another 2 or 3. So yeah, so definitely more than 100 yards in penalties.
Yeah, and some clock mismanagement and some questionable play calls. Like, I think as Bears fans, we're all thrilled that they won the game, obviously, and that Ben Johnson brought him to a victory like that. But I'm sitting there being like, man, there's a lot we could clean up. And the other thing is, I'm like, if we clean up those mistakes, is that game that close?
That was the thing, is they played, maybe an unpopular opinion, but I think they played better the first Packers game. Like, the first half was another disaster, but in the second half, they were starting to really look good against the Packers. And obviously that game came down to, a 4th and 1 boneheaded play. That's another thing about play calling is I don't understand when you're running the ball as well as they are. I don't understand why they aren't just handing it off on 4th and 1. That's 2 4th and 1s in a row where, against the Packers at least, where they either try to pass it or they try to get cute with the trick play and it just blows up in their face. I don't understand why they're not just running it there. But, yeah, no, I thought that the first Packers game, the Bears actually looked better than they did in this one. This one, I think they just they caught a really good break at the end, and they took advantage of the opportunity. And yes, Caleb Williams, he really tore it up there. But yeah, I agree with you. It did not feel like it was their best performance.
Yeah, which is encouraging to me, honestly, as a Bears fan, because it's like, hey, get that stuff cleaned up, and get it cleaned up before the playoffs. We could actually make some noise potentially. Like, we're the kind of team we are travels, and I think that's something that I'm not used to saying as a Bears fan, right? Because normally we don't travel anywhere, especially during the playoffs. We're not in it.
That's right. That is one thing. I mentioned field goals earlier. I will say that was. It was probably a top 3 game of Caleb Williams in his young NFL career. But it was the best game I think I've ever seen from Cairo Santos. Cairo Santos, with that wind, especially the first field goal where the whole goalpost was swaying side to side, he had like a golf swing going on with his kicks. And he was nailing them. He hit a 51-yarder in like 25-mile-an-hour winds. Yeah,
that was crazy. Yeah, I tell you, things really came together the way that they were supposed to that game. It's lucky, but then also it's like every team gets opportunities, and you got to take advantage of those opportunities you get, and it's up to what you do with them, So, and that's coaching, right? And I think that I'll tell you what, man, Kyle Monangai and that offensive line, and DeAndre Swift, and I mean, you think about it, they didn't have Luther Burden, they didn't have Roma Dunze, and they're still able to generate offense. It would be great if we could figure out a way to start faster. Because we keep, I'd rather be a second half team than a first half team, but it'd be great if we didn't have to be in a hole every game.
Yeah. So the first drive actually went really well, other than the 4th-and-1 play call. Like, they moved the ball down the field. And that's the thing about football. Football is it's such a game of momentum. I know, Caleb, you were saying that you wish they would have kicked the field goal on that 4th-and-1.
I would have kicked it, yeah.
I wish they would have just ran the ball. Just hand it to Swift or Monangai and just let them pick up that 1 yard, because I think they would. And if you score any points on that drive, I don't think the Bears' offense falls apart the way they did the rest of the game. Because look at what happens when they got momentum on their side at the end of the game. When they got the crowd involved, once they got the onside kick, all of a sudden, Caleb Williams is surgical. I don't understand. I mean, I just didn't understand the play call to go for it on 4th-and-1. It was one of the worst play calls they've had so far this year. It's an interesting play concept, right? To snap it, trick play, snap it between the tight end's legs. It's interesting, but like, why are you doing that on the first drive of the game?
The risk for me on that play seemed too high for that early in the game.
Right. And then one thing I wanted to touch on, and I will say, I'm not seeing a lot of people, I'm not seeing near as many people like on the internet complaining about this as I thought I would, but there are the comments out there where it's, oh, congratulations, Bears, you beat a backup quarterback. All right, let me just say, Malik Willis is a top 3 backup quarterback in the NFL. Last year, when Love missed time, Malik Willis went 2-0 as a starter. And Malik Willis will be, his contract is up this year. He will be on a different team, and he will be probably competing for the starting job at that team. I don't know where he's going to go. I don't know if maybe he's going to go to Pittsburgh or something after Rodgers is done. But Malik Willis is a good backup quarterback, and not only is he good, he wins games, and also he provides an element to their offense that they don't otherwise have. The Bears' defense wasn't prepared for a scrambling quarterback. Obviously, they spent the whole week preparing for Jordan Love. Malik Willis comes in, they didn't know how to stop him. They clearly they didn't spend any time during the week practicing against a read option, which kept getting called.
Yeah, I thought it was a wash, personally, because I think Malik Willis is a little worse at throwing than Jordan Love, but he's a lot better at scrambling. So I was like, it's a wash. I think that
in the elements, with the way the weather was, like you saw Jordan Love, he had multiple passes get caught by the wind and go out. I think it's better to have a scrambling QB in a game like that. That game did come down to who could run the ball better. At least it looked like that's the way it was going to go. And the Packers were dominating it. They were running the ball better than the Bears. And then the Bears just all of a sudden got so much momentum with 2 minutes to go. And all of a sudden their passing game broke wide open. But I mean, that's just what happens. So yeah, I don't, the whole Malik Willis thing, like I said, I didn't see as many people bringing it up. I actually saw a Packers fan. I respect what they said. I saw a Packers fan. It's actually a Packers beat writer, and he was responding to another Packers fan that was saying, "Oh, they beat a backup quarterback," and he said, I give him props for what he said. He said, "No," he said, "We all know that if the Packers would have won that game, we would have given the Bears. We would have been gloating to Bears fans about how they couldn't even beat our backup. So now we don't get to turn around now and be like, well, you only beat our backup."
What are you talking about? That's what sports is about.
That's right. Excuses. But yeah, I did get into an argument with a Packers fan. I told Ryan about this because they were going over who was injured for the Packers, and they were going over they were like, oh, they didn't have Micah Parsons, the best pass rusher in the NFL, and then they said, and I agree with that. Well, I don't know, Myles Garrett's really good too, but they said they didn't have Jordan Love, a top 3 quarterback in the NFL. I was like, okay, he's good. He is not a top 3 quarterback in the NFL.
I don't actually think that Jordan, personally, I don't think he's better than Caleb Williams, to be honest. I've been very, not sure about him from the beginning. Not that I think he's a bad quarterback. I think he has good games. And then I think he has really crappy games, too. I've seen them both.
Yeah. Well, the thing is what I brought up with that guy when I was arguing with him a little bit, it's just a couple comments back and forth, but I was like, okay, if Jordan Love was a top 3 quarterback, he would be an MVP candidate, and he's not. I said I was on the FanDuel Sportsbook that night. There were 14 options for MVP. Jordan Love was not one of them that night. Caleb Williams was. Caleb Williams is like 7th in MVP betting odds right now on FanDuel. That being said, I don't think he should be. I don't know if he should even be in the top 7, to be honest. Maybe top 10. But no.
All right. Who should be MVP then? I'm curious.
Either Stafford or Drake May.
For both of you guys. Stafford or Drake May?
Yeah, one of those two.
Ryan, you still on? What do you say?
What about JSN? JSN would be.
All right, we all know it's not going to a non-QB.
Christian McCaffrey. Let's go.
I actually think it should be Christian McCaffrey personally, but
Because
if
you
you
have
look
him in
at
fantasy, or
I had him in the league I lost in, so that doesn't matter.
yeah, well,
No, I just think that this is a year where I think there are some good quarterbacks, but Stafford. I mean, he's had some pretty off games. I'm sorry, what off game has Christian McCaffrey had? Look at his stats. What off game has he had? He's carrying that team.
That is true.
really.
But you know what? Brock Purdy is bad for Christian McCaffrey because ever since Purdy came back, Christian McCaffrey is not topping 40 receiving yards. What's up with that? He was the team's best receiver.
He scored 29 points last night.
Yeah, but he didn't get those 40 yards though, because I bet the under on 40 yards. He didn't get it. Haha. But yeah, McCaffrey's good, but we all know MVP is going to a QB, and it's either going to be Stafford or May, or I guess Sam Darnold's in the running now. But I mean, I wouldn't even say those guys are top 3 QBs. I don't think any of us would say those guys are top 3 QBs. Maybe this year specifically, but like generally, I think when you're talking the top quarterbacks in the league, you would say Josh Allen, probably Lamar, Joe Burrow, Patrick Mahomes, maybe Jalen Hurts is 5th. Tough to say, but
You forgot Tyler Shuck.
Ryan, this is no time for your closeted Saints fan theories.
Come on. But he's a really good player. He just needs a year to set in, and we'll go from there.
Ryan is a closeted Saints fan the same way that Caleb is a closeted 49ers fan.
You say that because I picked them as the coach of the year and the MVP.
Yeah, but you also...
A little suspicious.
You bring up the 49ers a suspicious amount of times during regular conversations. I'm just like, Caleb, what are you eating for lunch? He's like, 49ers are winning this year's Super Bowl. That's what's in the bag.
I may or may not have put $25 on the 49ers from the Super Bowl a week ago.
Yeah.
It's great odds.
I mean, it is good odds because they're 3rd in their division right now. But actually, did they move up to 2nd by winning last night?
No, so they're 3rd still. And actually, okay, this is a good segue. Where do you guys think the Bears end? Do you think they end the 2nd seed, which is where they currently are, the 1st seed, or the 7th seed? Those are essentially their only options.
You're talking the Bears?
Yep.
So if they win one more game, aren't they pretty much guaranteed the 2nd seed?
That's correct, yeah. But because they play the 49ers, that's why.
Right.
So, yeah.
I think they'll get the 2nd seed. I think that they've got a good shot at pulling out a win against one of these two teams. I'm scared of both matchups, and I've been scared of the Lions matchup because the Lions scored 50 on them earlier. But I was watching this.
Though.
What's that?
Outdoor, Jared Goff.
Yeah, well, what I was gonna say was I was watching the Steelers-Lions game this weekend, and man, they are not the team that they were week 2. Jahmyr Gibbs had 2 carries for 7 yards. Like the Lions, I don't know what I still think that they'll have a decent shot to beat the Bears, but I'm not scared of them scoring 50 on them again or anything like that. And you know what? That's another thing about the Bears. This whole episode is basically just going to be us talking as Bears fans, to be honest. So sorry, Robers, if you're listening. But one thing I want to bring up about that 50 points Lions game, and I think I've mentioned this on the podcast before. Everyone loved a couple weeks ago when the Bears still had a negative point differential. So many people love to bring up, the Bears, they're frauds because they have a negative point differential. They might have won these many games, but they have a negative. They had 50 points scored on them week 2. They got outscored by 30 points. That's why they had a negative point differential.
They're winning a lot of close
only reason why. They are, but the only reason why they had that negative point differential is because they got spotted 30 points at the beginning of the season. It's not a good excuse.
Yeah, no, I think that's true. So it's interesting. There is a very real possibility that the Bears would end the number one seed, which is kind of interesting. They would have to beat the 49ers this week and beat the Lions next week. And then the 49ers would have to beat the Seahawks the last week of the season.
Yeah.
That's it. If that happens, the Bears win the number one seed. The Rams cannot get the number one seed now unless the 49ers and Seattle lose out. And even then, I still don't think they can because the Seattle and 49ers play each other at the last game of the season. So one of those two is going to be the first seed unless the Bears can pull it out, win the next two, and San Francisco beats Seattle, which they already did once this year. So it is possible that they get the first seed. Now, I've heard some people say, some Bears fans say, I actually don't want the first seed because the first seed means that, your players get, fatigue and yeah. Let me tell you, I completely disagree with that. But it's not because I disagree with the premise of it. I understand, like, there's some, going in cold. I get that, right? I disagree with that because if the Bears don't get the first seed, do you know who they're going to play in the 7th seed?
The Packers.
They're going to play Green Bay.
Right.
And as a Bears fan, I want to play anybody else. Not that I'm afraid of Green Bay, but I just don't want a situation where they send us home.
Yep, that's pretty much what every Bears fan that I've talked to has said so far. And yeah, I mean, you've had 2 games now against Green Bay. Both of them came down to the final plays of the game, basically. Yeah, I don't really want to see that. And
I mean, it'd be great TV, right? But yeah. I don't want that. My heart can't take it, The only way that would not happen, by the way, is if the Rams drop both their next games. They play the Falcons and then they play the Cardinals. They'd have to drop both those games. And if they drop both those games, the Rams drop to 7. I don't see that happening. So the Packers will either be at 7 or the Bears will be at 7. So it would either be Green Bay at Chicago or Chicago at Green Bay.
Yeah. Probably not good for Bears fans. But who knows? Maybe. I mean, the thing is, it's so weird to actually have like some trust in a Bears quarterback because the thing is that throughout the season, when the chips have been down, that's when Caleb Williams has played the best. So I'm almost hoping that he'll have like a Joe Flacco-like playoff run if they do. Well, I guess they are in the playoffs now. But yeah, I'm hoping that he turns into, was it 2010 Joe Flacco, 2011 Joe Flacco? I'm hoping he turns into that Joe Flacco Ravens run where all of a sudden he is putting up otherworldly numbers compared to what he has been doing. Which, I mean, he's been doing fine actually, but
yeah, I think it was 2012 or 2013 because 2011 is when the Packers went 15-1, but and the Giants won the Super Bowl that year. But I'm curious, what do you guys think the Bears' ceiling is this year?
Like regular season?
No, in the playoffs. Like, what do you think? What do you think is possible?
I think they can win their wild card round, and that's about as far as I see them going.
So if they win their wild card round, let's say it's against the Packers, right? As the 2nd seed, they would likely play either the 49ers or Seattle next.
Yeah, I don't like that. I mean, my opinion can change on a week-to-week basis, right? If the Bears somehow find a way to beat the 49ers, like in a somewhat convincing fashion, if we're talking 2 scores, then my opinion can change on this. But right now, I think they'll have a tough time knocking either of those teams off.
So I think it's actually the highest remaining seed could be, but they would also, what if the Bears got matched up with the Eagles in the 2nd round? Maybe, because that could happen.
You have confidence. They already beat the Eagles. The Eagles have no offensive identity. Yeah.
So you think NFC Championship?
If they're playing the Eagles, then maybe. But I don't know.
The 2 seed, Eagles are locked into the 3 seed. So if they win their wild card match, they should play the Eagles next, I believe, and then the 1st seed would play the 4th seed or whoever won that one, the lowest remaining seed. I think is how it works. So
yeah, I don't know, Ryan. How far do you see the Bears going?
Dude, I told you, what was it, 3-4 weeks ago to bet on the Bears to win the Super Bowl. So
did you do it?
Really good.
I didn't because I don't do that sports betting. It's
oh, don't you?
It's a terrible vice and no one should do it. But I don't I don't see why the Bears can't
This
make it
message
to
from
the
Ryan
Super
brought
Bowl.
to you by the Anti-Gambling Hotline. When you're in trouble, call 1-800 now.
What worries me about the Bears is they have had a lot of one-score victories. And their schedule, I mean, they had some tough teams, but their schedule wasn't particularly difficult this year, in my opinion.
Harder than the Patriots.
Yeah. I mean, you'll have teams that belie, their true strength, but I subscribe to the mentality that any team can beat any other team on a given week. And we see this with the Bills every other week when they lose to like a 1-5 team and then they win against the 6-1 team. So
Yep.
it is possible.
Panthers beat the Rams and the Packers.
You're talking about the playoff Panthers,
Yeah,
right?
7-6, looking like they're gonna win their division.
8-7, I think.
Is that what it is now? Yeah, I guess that's true. Yeah, 8-7. So yeah, looking like they're gonna win their division.
Yeah.
They've got the tiebreaker on Tampa Bay now, I think.
No, they don't. Tampa Bay still has a tiebreaker.
Do they? So Tampa Bay won the first
if,
time they
if,
played?
Yeah, if they both go 9-8, then Tampa Bay will make the playoffs.
Because Tampa Bay has more division wins? Is that what it is?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. I actually wasn't sure. I thought they still had to play each other again, but they must have played each other earlier.
So they do. They play each other the last week of the season. So if the Panthers beat the Buccaneers, then obviously they would get in.
Okay.
Because they would have a better record. So
there's no world in which they can lose to Tampa. So if they split with Tampa Bay, they can't get in.
So Tampa Bay is playing the Dolphins. If Tampa Bay loses to the Dolphins, then they can get in. But that's because Carolina would have a better record. If the record ties, then Tampa Bay gets in over them because they have more division wins.
Interesting. Well,
if they play each other in the last game, can they tie? With only 2 games left, I don't think they can.
No, because Carolina beat them already.
No, they can. Carolina's 8-7, Tampa's 7-8. But Carolina plays who was it?
Yeah, but say they win one and they lose one, they're both at 8-8 for the last game. One has to win, one has to lose. I don't think they can tie in record.
No, they can. Carolina plays Seattle, so they would have to. So Carolina right now is 8-7. Tampa's 7-8.
With 2 games left in the season.
Yes. So if Tampa wins their next 2 games and Carolina splits, they tie the record.
But they
make sense? They both be 9-8.
But they play each other the final week.
Yeah, which Tampa would have to win. That's the point.
Yeah.
So Carolina would have to beat Seattle this week for them to tie.
But if Carolina beats Seattle and Tampa Bay
beats Carolina, they would both be 9-8, but Tampa would get the tiebreaker. Okay. That's why they have a better odds right now to make the playoffs than Carolina.
Yeah. Well. Yeah, we'll see what happens with that. I don't even remember how we got on this.
So we were talking about ceiling. I will say my ceiling, it's fully dependent on the playoff matchups. I hate playing Green Bay the first round. I hate that. That being said, we just beat them, and honestly, it wasn't a really clean game by the Bears, right? We could play a lot better.
Could have beaten them earlier if Caleb Williams puts a little bit more under that pass.
So I would say we could beat Green Bay. And, that's side tangent. That's the funny thing about the Malik Willis argument. Like, backup quarterback. I'm like, we were a play away from beating you guys with Jordan Love last time we played.
And that thing, the funny thing is that the last 2 seasons, so the Bears and Packers have split their series 2 seasons in a row now. And if you remember last year's games, the Packers won on a blocked field goal the first time they played.
Mm-hmm.
So they've been getting pretty lucky on some of these.
That was with Eberflus, so keep that in mind.
No, he was fired by then, I think.
That first game they played?
I thought he was.
Maybe he was. I don't remember.
He didn't get fired until Thanksgiving.
Yeah. Anyway, I would say their ceiling, because they play the Packers and likely they'd play the Eagles. Of course, the Eagles might lose first round.
That could easily happen.
I'd say their ceiling is the NFC Championship game, which I would love to see. I would love to see them make it to the NFC Championship game. We'll see what happens. I am curious. What do you guys think about trick plays as a general rule? What do you think about trick plays?
Love them.
Love them.
No, I mean, I think my opinion is there's a time and a place. And first drive of the game, I don't love it. And I mean, there are also lower risk trick plays, right? Like against the Bengals, they pulled out that
like a play action pass. Trick play.
No, but like the little
very tricky.
The little 15-yard completion play that they had where Cole Kmet threw it to Odunze and Odunze dropped it against the Bengals. They did that like pretty early in that game. But it's like that's a fairly low risk play. You're running it on like first and 10 or second and 10. But 4th and 1 in one of your biggest matchups of the year, on your first drive, like that's just felt like really bad timing. And you know that when a coach dials that up, they are kind of doing it for their own glory. Because they know that if it works out, everyone's going to be praising the offensive coordinator and the head coach, talking about how gutsy it is. But then you miss it and people talk about how stupid you are. I mean, that's the duality of being a coach in the NFL.
That is true.
But yeah, I think there's a time and a place for trick plays. I love them when they're successful.
Yeah. How do you feel, Ryan?
I think they should be done every game. Because
every play should be trick play.
I mean, teams watch game film of each other, so I mean, you'll know their formations, not their plays specifically, but how they operate on the field. And if you can do anything to put a little doubt in their mind to say, well, they might do this, that, or the other thing, they're going to make mistakes elsewhere. So I think trick plays should be done at least once per game.
Yeah. One thing I want to touch on before we start to wrap things up, I want to make sure I get our opinions in on this. The whole NFL media is pretty split on this play. The play where Jordan Love got injured. A lot of people are saying that was intentional and that was a dirty play. A lot of people are saying that Jordan Love ducked his head. Me personally, I think it was just... I think that when you watch something in super slow-mo, it becomes deceiving. I think if you rewatch the play in real-time speed, everything happens so fast. I think it's very bang-bang. I don't think there was malicious intent behind it, but I'm curious what you guys think about it.
Ryan?
Clean. Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to control your helmet in some regards, and it was helmet to helmet, but it wasn't like straight on. He aimed as low as he could, and
I don't know, Ryan. That's what Myles Garrett said. It's hard to control your helmet. Sometimes.
Actually, it's hard. He was saying it's hard to control Mason Rudolph's helmet.
Yeah. No, but you try running full speed into a quarterback and getting as low as you can. I mean, if you're sprinting towards something and trying to drop a foot or two, it's difficult.
Yeah, Love was trying to step out of another sack at the time, which is part of the reason why he stepped forward to begin with. So,
yeah, I think. Here's the thing. Do I think it was a dirty play? No, I don't think it was a dirty play. It was helmet to helmet contact, so it should have been flagged. Sure, yeah. I mean, that's the rule, right? So that's what it is. But in general, most of the time, I feel bad for defensive linemen in today's NFL because, like, your job is, hey, go get the quarterback, right? Go tackle him, go hit him, whatever. And then if you actually hit him or they duck or you slip or slide or something like that, and then you accidentally hit them or hit them harder than you mean to or whatever, then it's a penalty. And it's just that's really frustrating. And then they're looked at as dirty plays, and it's like, well, their job is to kill the quarterback. That's literally what they're paid for.
One of the more bullcrap rulings that there is in today's NFL is the whole, you have to anticipate the slide thing. It's like, what if they don't slide though? What if they then juke you and they keep going?
Yep.
It is hard to be a defensive player, but I didn't think that there was malicious intent in that play because of how fast it happened. I think it was just really poor timing. Jordan Love he's stepping out of a tackle that he's currently in at the same time as Austin Booker flying in, and it's all happening very, very quickly. I will say that I speculate that there was much more malicious intent in the Keyshawn Nixon DJ Moore play that happened earlier in the game.
Nah, that was clean. Very clean.
Because Keyshawn Nixon could have easily avoided DJ Moore on that play. But that it was I think it was a little bit of retribution that both of the Bears touchdowns, the 4th and 4 play and the DJ Moore touchdown, were both Keyshawn Nixon's coverage. Although, I mean, that 4th and 4 dude was so wide open, it's hard to say who was supposed to be in coverage on that. But Keyshawn Nixon was closest to it, so.
That's true. So I'll tell you guys really quick my thoughts on trick plays. I think they are very useful, right? You catch them off guard, I think, and especially in today's NFL. By the way, I hate that you can't surprise with an onside kick anymore.
Yeah.
I
hate the kickoff rules in general right now.
So that's just a side tangent. But my thoughts on it are trick plays are great at the right time. I think if you do them too early in the game, though, personally, I think you signal to your team, hey, I don't think we're good enough to beat this team fair and square, so let's resort to some trickery to beat them, right? And I don't like signaling that because I actually think the Bears are good enough to beat teams. I don't think that's what Ben Johnson's trying to do, but for me, if I was sitting on the sideline, I'm like, why are we running this play? Like, let's just run it up the middle with Mungungai or Swift,
Yeah. Yeah. So a couple things. I mean, one statement I wanted to bring up because I got to bring up the onside kick. You mentioned it a little bit before, but I wanted to bring up the onside kick because I have a couple thoughts about it. I mean, it's the 5th onside kick that's been recovered all season, which actually seems high. I thought that there had been like 3 total, but
all 5 by the Bears.
No, but the Bears did allow one from the Bengals earlier this season. But no, the one thought that I had about the onside kick, because a lot of people are mad at Romeo Doubs, and kind of deservedly so. But one thing about the Packers, maybe you shouldn't have the guy that is clearly afraid of contact on your hands team. He's not wearing that Guardians cap for style. Clearly, he doesn't want contact, and if you're on the hands team, you're gonna take a hit.
Yeah, I tell you, I honestly, and I'm not, I'm being fair here to all teams. I feel for onside kick recoveries because if you watch that play in slow-mo, that ball hits him about a split second before he gets decked by like 3 Bears players.
Yeah, well, that's how it goes.
That's got to be one of the most stressful jobs.
That's what like so many former players say. They say if you're on the hands team, it's like one of the worst, most stressful positions to be on, and then a lot of players will say that the player they feel the worst for is the tight end that has to protect the edge on field goals.
Yep.
Because that dude gets blasted every time they kick a field goal. So yeah, the onside kick. I mean, obviously, it is funny. Hope is a funny thing. Like, when they recover the onside kick and the crowd gets louder than I've ever heard the Soldier Field crowd being in any game, I think. And then you just kind of know, like you just kind of know if they're going to go down there and tie the game. Like, at that point, I feel like I knew that they were going to get down the field. And that's the thing about, like I said earlier, how momentum works with the NFL. But what I wanted to say... The DJ Moore play was awesome, right? Like, one of the most exciting plays I've ever seen as a Bears fan. But I actually think, when it comes to Caleb Williams, I actually think the play that I was the most impressed by him with was the 4th and 4 play. Because that play is do or die. It was an all-out blitz. It was cover 0. And I don't know if you guys have watched any film breakdowns on the game yet, but I checked out one of them, and it was... When Caleb Williams releases that ball, obviously pressure's right in his face, which is why I think he threw it so high, because a lot of people were thinking he threw it away. When he releases that ball, man, I don't even... Who's the receiver again? The undrafted guy? Walker, right?
Yeah, Walker, yep.
Yeah, so when he's not even out of his break when Caleb Williams releases that ball. that was actually the play I was the most impressed by mostly because it was fourth down. Fourth down, 30 seconds left. If you don't get
all-out blitz, cover zero.
Yeah, if you don't get it, you lose the game. And it was Tom Brady call. I will say, Tom Brady and Kevin Burkhardt, I was actually really enjoying their commentating in that game because the Thursday night game was great too, the Seahawks-Rams game. But Al Michaels is like, that dude has been zapped. He has like no energy when he's calling games anymore. But Tom Brady, when the Bears lined up, and Tom Brady says, an entire division comes down to this one play, I started to get kind of goosebumps on it. And then Caleb Williams pressure in his face on cover zero, lofts that ball up, and Walker comes down with it. And I mean, the guts to trust the undrafted rookie in his first NFL game where he's actually playing receiver, because up until this point he has only been in on special teams.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's just gutsy, but, they're calling Caleb Williams the Iceman. They've been calling him that since, I think, the Giants game is when that whole persona started.
We should get some shirts that have Caleb Williams on it that says, "The Iceman cometh."
That's what the Bears radio announcer said. He said, "The Iceman cometh, the Iceman taketh." Bears
So
won
the question is, if Troy Aikman was calling the game, would he have been like, "Yeah, Caleb Williams, he was just trying to throw that ball away, and Walker made an amazing play"?
No, Troy Aikman would have been like, "Yeah, they completed it, but if you look over here, DJ Moore was also open. I would have gone to DJ Moore personally. Caleb Williams' decision making is just really questionable."
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think that that play. And it's funny because anybody saying he was just like trying to throw it away or threw it too high or whatever, that's a timing route. Right. It's a timing route. They work on that play. Like, he knows where Walker's going to be.
Right. But also,
he wasn't just like lucky.
Yeah, but also anyone saying he was throwing it away, he knew it was fourth down. There is no throwing it away. I think 99% of NFL quarterbacks, probably 100 actually, would rather throw an interception than throw it away on fourth down with the game on the line.
The game on the line.
Yeah.
All right, so I agree with you on that. So question for you guys then: if the Bears are going to go far in the playoffs at all, what do you think? What do you think the biggest thing is that they need to change?
Defense, probably.
Change defense. Get a new defense.
Defense. Yeah, no. It's just defense is allowing. I mean, in the games where the defense isn't forcing turnovers, they are not good. They're allowing, I think they're allowing the second most yards in the NFL right now. Which, I mean, they did well in the red zone against the Packers. There was a lot of field goals. They allowed the one blown coverage touchdown. But, yeah, their defense either keep getting 3 turnovers a game or stop letting them get in the red zone all the time.
What do you think, Ryan?
Biggest thing me is defense as well, but the Bears actually do rather well in the red zone. I think they're like top 10 in red zone stops, so I don't think that's the issue. Now they do allow a lot of points, so we look to that, and we look to also their third down percentage for stops is pretty good too. So where are they losing points? These big plays, these hurry-up offenses that get them to the line and they don't get their defense set. So I think if they can improve, just as you were talking earlier with momentum, if they can get the field locked down earlier on, that they obviously do better in the game. So they're number 1 in interceptions. They're number 2 in rush yards. They have a decent offense. I think they have the second best rushing offense right now with Monangai and Swift. So it's kind of hard to pinpoint where they need to work on things. So probably just defense, special teams too, because apparently everybody needs to work on special teams.
I will say, real quick, I will say if I had to pinpoint one thing on the defense, it's pass rush. I just don't think they're getting enough pressure on the QB. And that goes for every game they play. A little bit with the Packers, it almost feels specific, though, because really I just think the Packers are really good at picking up blitzes. And that's it. They're just really good at pass coverage.
Their quarterbacks, the Packers always seem to have a long time to throw. It just seems like they could sit back there for quite a while. Yeah. I will say, isn't it kind of an unsettling? Like Luke, you said earlier that when they recover the onside kick, you were sure they were going to go down and score. Isn't that a weird feeling as a Bears fan? That like you know they're going to go down and score. It's like that is not something I'm used to. I'm like, hey, hopefully we get a first down. Like
yeah. And then I don't know. I mean, I am curious. What was your guys' reaction? I already know Ryan's a little bit, but he can say for the audience. For the 2 people listening, but what was your guys' reaction when DJ Moore caught the touchdown? Because I will say, when he caught it for me, I was just kind of silent for a second because I wasn't sure if they were going to rule it incomplete because I didn't see where the ball was. And then at the same time, I also thought he was kind of hurt because the way he lets the ball go and just lays there for a second.
He said he was hurt right now. He said he was hurt, and then in the interview, and then he's like, "But then my teammates got me up, and it was all okay."
But yeah, so what was your guys' reaction? Was it instantly jumping up, screaming, and everything, or were you guys also a little concerned that the ball hit the ground?
Me personally, I was irritated because it was pass interference, and I didn't see a flag, and I thought he dropped it. So
you're just mad the Packers didn't get the ball back so that Jaden Reed could get you more fantasy points.
No. It wasn't that. Fantasy, there's no shot this week. Anywho, so I was just like, oh, the pass interference, you didn't throw a flag? What the heck? And I kind of missed the rest of the play and how he didn't drop the ball. And once they showed the replay, obviously, jumping up and down, screaming.
Ryan didn't know the Bears won the game. He drove home angry. He was like, didn't throw a flag for pass interference. What the heck?
Just going right out.
I'm out of here.
Didn't look at any replays.
It's actually the first Ryan's heard they won.
Okay. All right, Caleb, you give your reaction, and I got something to say about a different game this week, but yeah.
Yeah, I thought he caught it. I actually thought he caught it until I saw the replay. Then I was like, oh, maybe he didn't. And then I watched it closer, and I was like, oh, no, he did. He caught it. It just, it's the way that he landed and he kind of rolled, was one of those things where if you wanted to be really ticky-tack, you could maybe say, like, oh, did the ball move or not? But I don't think it did. Yeah. I will say real quick before we switch, I was going to say kind of what I think the Bears need to do a little bit different. I don't know if you guys noticed, do you know the big difference between the first half and the second half? Why the Bears are so good in the second half and why they're really struggle in the first half? Because I think I know what it is, and it sounds weird.
The heaters weren't working on the Packers sideline.
That's right. No, I think it's that in the second half, Ben Johnson lets Caleb Williams run. He doesn't really run in the first half at all. Like, if you look at the games he's played, he rarely runs at all. Now, I'm not opposed to him looking for the pass and everything. He's had some great passes, and I'm not opposed to that at all. Look for a pass before you run. But I'll tell you, I've been really impressed with Caleb Williams' scrambling ability, and he knows when to get down. He doesn't take hits.
Yeah.
He's the opposite of Jackson Dart.
Yep, Jackson Dart and Cam Scatterby, they're going to be a combo next year.
So I would say, have some design runs for Caleb and let him run a little more. Make him protect himself, but let him run a little more. He's a really good athlete. He's fast.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, let him run until the defense puts a spy on him, and then let him pick it apart after there's a spy. Yeah.
Yep.
Now, the one thing I was going to say, we made the joke about Ryan not knowing that the Bears had won. Did you guys see the end of the Steelers-Lions game? Because the ref that calls, the ref that was breaking down the ending of that game, he led a decent amount of people in the Lions Stadium to believe that the Lions had won that game, and then he clarified and was like, "Game's over. Pittsburgh won. Pittsburgh won, by the way." What do you? It was such a terrible explanation.
I think it would have been because they interviewed Aaron Rodgers after the game, and he said, "Yeah, he's like, I was a part of a game like this 10 years ago, but that was backup refs with the Seahawks game." And it would have been so funny if the refs would have just been their explanation. They just get out of the thing and they're just like, "Steelers win," and that's all. Can you imagine what Detroit would have done?
That's almost
fire in the streets.
Yeah, that's almost what it was, though. It was such a horrible explanation of the rule.
That by the way is such a weird rule because that would have been the case for holding. Like anything after the snap, they do not replay the play.
Yeah, I didn't know that until this game.
That's like a really weird rule.
Is it though? I mean, you know that the game can't end on a defensive penalty, so I mean the opposite.
Right.
The game can end on an offensive.
Right, but think about this. If what if they were on the 50 and they throw a pass to Amon-Ra St. Brown who runs it all the way in for a touchdown, but there's holding on offense. Boom, the game's over. There's no replay. That's super weird, isn't it?
Yeah, I wasn't a huge fan of that.
That means a penalty loses you the game no matter what, and that's really weird. I kind of think they should look at that because, to me, that's a really anticlimactic way to lose.
Yeah, well, like I said, some of the Lions fans just thought that they won the game, though, even after the ref explained it.
I assume there's some reason for it, right? Like, oh, maybe they're trying to. Now, here's what I'd be fine with, right? Okay, you did something intentionally, right? And there's a 10-second runoff because you wanted to stop the clock with a penalty. Yeah, that's a different thing, right?
Yeah, I could see that.
But I don't know.
Well, like I said it on the podcast.
But if it's a dead clock, then why does it matter? And that was a dead clock. Anyway.
Yeah, well, I said on the podcast after the first Bears-Packers game, I think offensive pass interference should be a loss of down if it happens on third or fourth down at least, because there's no reason to not do it on third or fourth down. If the quarterback is throwing a would-be interception, you might as well grab the DB and just shove him over, because what's going to happen? A 10-yard penalty that the defense declines because they're going to be punting? Like, OPI feels ridiculous compared to defensive pass interference, because defensive pass interference is like a gut-wrenching call on a defense.
Question: should fantasy wide receivers get points for defensive pass interference on them?
No.
Ryan?
I mean,
half points.
No.
I don't know how you can track that stat, but I'm always for more points. So why not? Just try it for a year, see what happens.
Ryan's always for more points. That's why he wants to split up fumbles next year.
I'm for taking away points when you do something bad. And when you fumble the ball, even if it's not lost.
Yeah, like when you score a 2-point conversion like the Seahawks on Thursday.
That was weird. She just picks up the ball and the game goes into OT and somebody gets a touchdown because they went into OT and so on and so forth.
Laterals or fumbles. If it hits the ground, it's a fumble. Okay. Well, yeah, we've got. I think this covers pretty much everything I wanted to talk about with the Bears-Packers game. It was I mean, I'm still kind of on a high from that game, to be honest. I'm assuming,
You're high?
I'm assuming we've all watched at least the last couple plays multiple times at this point. I've probably watched it 10, 15 times.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I will say, since we're skipping the main podcast this week, I wanted to quick touch on just the Christmas Day games, since we're not going to be doing any game previews this week. But we got Cowboys, Commanders, Lions, Vikings, Broncos, Chiefs. Not a great slate, but what out of those games, which one do you guys think will end up being the best? So Cowboys, Commanders is at noon. Lions and Vikings at 3:30. Broncos and Chiefs is 7:15.
Probably Lions, Vikings. I mean, Commanders, Cowboys could be, but those teams aren't in the playoffs. So you got the Lions with still a shot at the playoffs. So I think Lions, Vikings is probably the best game to watch.
Yeah. I think I agree with you on that, because even though it's JJ McCarthy's not going to be active, I will say, it's Brosner, right?
Max Brosner.
He didn't look bad in this last game. He was actually getting Justin Jefferson the ball, so some people in their fantasy championships might actually have some hope.
No, they have no hope. They have no hope.
Really? Says Caleb, who is going up against Justin Jefferson. So, yeah, Caleb, what game do you think has the potential to be the best one?
Well, the only one I have any players in is the Cowboys-Commanders games. That's the only one I care about. But I mean, Lions Vikings has the best chance. It's in Minnesota, and could be weather, right, Ryan? So.
Yeah, I mean, the elements are always a factor.
Yeah. So we've got games on Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday now. Saturday night is Ravens-Packers, and it might be Snoop Huntley versus Malik Willis, so that'll be interesting. But okay, so I think that's gonna do it for this. We'll probably try to do a couple more of these, at least through the playoffs. I want to get some more reactions out, other than just the first 5 minutes of the podcast. So might try to do this a little more often.
Hey, real quick, since this was a Bears-centric one, Bears 49ers play at San Francisco Sunday night. Who wins that game?
Niners. The Niners.
Why
right?
you so pessimistic?
The Niners just scored 50 points against the Colts. Really
It
close.
looks
really
like
close to 50 points, but
it looks like Kittle's not going to play though. He's got his ankle injury.
I don't think that matters.
Ooh, Jake Tonga's coming in though.
He almost got a touchdown.
What do you think, Ryan?
Obviously, picking the Bears. They used up 49ers used up all their touchdowns the other night, so there's no way they have more left in the tank.
Okay.
We'll see. It is a longer week for the Bears, and it's a shorter week for the Niners. The Bears played Saturday, and the Niners played Monday, so who knows? Maybe the extra rest will help the Bears.
I will take the Niners as well, but I think it'll be close. So.
Yeah. I think the Bears getting the 2 seed is going to be heavily contingent on them beating the Lions in Week 18. So, but the Lions are never going to rest any starters, so they're going to have to earn it. So, okay. Well, thanks for listening, anyone that's checking this out. And we should be back to doing the regular podcast next week, and hopefully we'll get a couple more of these reaction videos out periodically, hopefully during the NFL playoffs. This is not a fantasy football only show. We continue all the way to the Super Bowl. So, all right.
And then every week in the off season.
Nope, we don't do that. All right. See you later.